So just to add, I guess there are a lot of things said. Location is the underlying most important thing, and efforts need to be placed in terms of saying if there is a 80-20 that you need to put in, 80% of your time should be put into basically actually identify whether this is the place that you need to be in. And it is very important, and as one of the things that we do is basically, we've just begun this, so it's not a science that we have mastered yet, but some of the things that we do is we try to understand basically what kind of households exist in that particular location, what kind of income groups basically, or what kind of retail actually exists around it. So if there are modern retails like supermarkets, or if it is just the low-end kiranas that work, we understand basically a sense of saying what's the kind of disposable income that could be generated out of that particular area. We just get a sense of it. Today, is there a science to it? Yes, there are retailers who actually go with data. They get all the data from the municipality in terms of saying how many households with respect to some research agencies where they tell you exactly the demographics of the SEC population as well and the income possibilities in that particular locality. You can get all that data. We don't do all of that today, but we still do that gut piece that you say. I think that comes into, because if you have been born and brought up in Delhi, for example, you understand some of the localities. If you are from Bombay, you understand some of these things. Over a period of time, experience tells you, once you go around the streets, go around basically looking around, what kind of things are being bought by those particular local household people, you get a sense of saying what is it that they are looking for and whether that is what you can provide to them. So, and that gives you a sense. So if I'm have I explained that?
Yes, I think you've.
Yeah. There is one thing that I would like to add. When you look at a high street and the malls, one of the critical things for a single brand company is about saying, what format do I use? Because the customer need is different in a high street versus what is in a mall. In a mall, basically the customer, most likely, I would say is most of the customers are pressured against time. They are there to do something else, not have a leisurely dining experience. Most of the times, I wouldn't say 100% of the customers, but predominantly most of the customers are there to do something else, and they want to eat something quick and fast and get on to do with their stuff that they were there for. So therefore, the format needs to define itself and say how do I cater to this customer who comes to my regular high street model where he comes, relaxes, sits, eats for some period of time, spends about an hour, but here I need to serve him or her within a span of 5 to 10 minutes. So the concept needs to be changed. You need to still figure out is basically how do I maintain the brand identity? For Sagar Ratna, we struggled on that one, but we still maintained only certain sect of the basic South Indian food still in the mall segment. We tried to figure out ways and means of saying how do I serve it within 15 minutes? So what do we need to do for the back-end product so that it can be served in such a fast manner? So those are the changes that you need to adapt to. And that's how we figured out basically within the same brand, keeping that brand concept the same, we tried to figure out a different format, taking care of the convenience bit, which was more required in the malls. I may step back into my past experience on this question actually, because I've worked with retailers like Walmart and Metro Cash and Carry in the past. For them, basically, obviously the principle was location. So the way they went about it scientifically, Walmart, for example, when we used to go about and actually identify a location, there was a 50-page document that each person had to fill in. Now, how does that happen? There are different people basically in the system. One, there is a projects person who's supposed to be the property expert who goes in basically assessing the property and understanding the commercials and knowing the household piece. He does that science piece. Then there is the marketing person who goes with the same format. There are about, if I remember it right, there were about 152 odd questions that needed to be filled in for every location. And each team member, the projects team, the marketing team, the operations team, everybody actually filled in that in their own way. They went in, assessed that particular property. They came back, and then there is a discussion on that particular property to say okay, these are our observations. This is our commercial assessment. This is possibly what we think we could hit in terms of numbers, sales, whatever. And therefore, the cost cannot be beyond this. And obviously, the management takes a call saying the rent cannot be beyond a certain percentage or whatever. Or if it is to be bought, like what is the deal that needs to be done? Then there is the ROI calculation of saying if it is a first-hand investment, then what is the cash outflow that is expected in the next 10 years? So there is that science. I mean, if I'm, in Sagar Ratna, for example, we began with earlier as a proprietor company. So there were only one or two individuals who used to go about with their experience and actually search for locations and do that. Over a period of time in the last couple of years, we've tried to basically change that art into a science and try to bring this kind of experience into the company.